Hey everyone, good morning and happy Valentine's Day. Let's give everyone a minute to join before we begin. Awesome. Let's go ahead and get things started here. Thank you everyone for joining us today for this Fieldwire in action, a day in the life of a job site user and getting a perspective of people driving construction forward on our job sites each day. My name is Pranati Gompa, and I am a construction success manager here at Fieldwire. So before we begin, I would like to address a few housekeeping items. To ensure a smooth session, attendees will be muted, but please don't hesitate to ask any questions you may have in the Q&A panel. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of this presentation, and we'll do our best to address as many questions as we can. And also for the questions we don't get to address, our experts will reach out to you directly. I will also be recording this session, and a recording of this session will be sent to you post the webinar directly to your email IDs. We also have some poll questions during the webinar for you to participate in. So please feel free to select the answers when the questions pop up. And additionally, we have a short 5-question survey at the end of the webinar, and we would really appreciate if you could fill it out. The survey really helps us to determine the usefulness of the content we deliver and also helps us for the future webinars. So before we dive into the webinar, please take a minute to fill out the next 2 poll questions so that we can learn a little bit more about you. And there comes the first one. What type of company do you work for? Awesome. Let's go into the second one. How confident are you using Fieldwire tasks? A few ones, you're low confident if you have never used them before, but you're comfortable using, but still struggling to understand the details of it, or basically you use them all the time and feel great about it. Awesome. Thank you so much for filling those poll questions. Without further ado, I would like to welcome one of our best construction success managers here, Zach Adcock. Zach, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Pranati. Really excited to have everybody here this morning. Our focus today, we appreciate all your time. Our focus today is going to be on how you can use and utilize Fieldwire directly on site on a daily basis. So let's get right into it. I'm going to give a quick personal introduction here. We'll do a brief overview of Fieldwire just to make sure we're all on the same page. And then we've got a great guest on the line here today for a live demo. We're going to split that up into 2 different parts. The first being how we can set our team up for success from the office. And then once we've built that foundation, we're going to look at how we can take action directly out in the field. And then after that, as Pranathi mentioned, we'll have some time for questions and answers. So a little bit about myself. My name is Zach Adcock. I'm a construction success manager here at Fieldwire. And what that means is basically my background is in the construction industry, and I'm a product expert here on Fieldwire. I help and work with teams directly to implement custom-made workflows and then help train teams to implement and get those going out in the field. My background and education is in civil engineering. I studied at the University of Illinois, and then I worked for a few years for general contractors out in the Seattle area prior to joining Fieldwire. And with those general contractors, some of my main areas of expertise was in document control across the project, as well as implementing tech solutions like Fieldwire for general contractors and subcontractors. So with that said, wanted to do a little bit of a background on what is Fieldwire for those of you that might be a little bit new to us. So Fieldwire is a single source of truth, and it's going to act to manage your daily activities through a single app, whether you're online or offline, and it bridges that communication gap between your field and your office teams. So it enables you to do a lot, whether that's viewing and marking up your plans to create your as-built, or assigning and completing work throughout a project, to documenting photos and videos. So those, you're seeing a couple different screenshots of Fieldwire in action there. And Fieldwire offers a lot of different tools. So there's multiple different modules. Today, we're going to focus on 3 of those: the forms, the files, and the tasks. If you're seeing some of those other modules on there today that really catch your interest and seem like they'd be useful, please check out some of the past Fieldwire webinars and some of our other online resources. You can view any of those past recordings at any time. So diving into our content, we're going to be looking at forms. These are really commonly used for daily reports on site. Teams use them frequently for inspections or tracking meeting minutes, and they can also use for more customized things like tracking T&M tickets. These can be accessed online or offline on your computer or mobile device, and you'll see that that's a recurring theme today, that these are really flexible with how you can access them. And our goal is that with these, you can save yourself from carrying around paper and pen on site and worrying about getting that back to the office at the end of the day. These are going to be customizable, where you can tailor them to fit your specific team's needs. And then you're able to also pull out metrics and data from these at any point. So for example, on a daily report, if you're logging how many hours you lost to rain delays or weather delays every day, you can look back at any point and say, last month, hey, how many hours did we lose in total? Or maybe across the entire year, how many hours did we lose to weather delays? Just as an example there of how they can be utilized. We're also going to be taking a look at the Files tab. And this is where you're going to be storing documents, PDFs, CSVs, etc. Some examples might be permits, contracts, POs, or all of your safety documentation on site, and making sure that it's all in one easy to access location that the whole team can reach at any point. Within your folder tab, you have a customizable folder structure, so you're free to create that however you'd like. And you also are able to control access. So if there are some documents that need to be kept confidential to your specific team and your company, those can be locked, and any external parties, whether that be an owner, designer, or contractor on the site, can't access those on your Fieldwire project. Finally, with the Files tab, you can collaborate. So on any of these documents, you can mark them up, highlight, add text markups, and really create a living, breathing document that your whole team can contribute to. And then our third module that we'll be looking at today is the Tasks tab. So you're going to be seeing a little GIF there of a task in use. These are really great for action items. So anything that you might have had multiple text and email threads and different conversations going on about in the past, the task is built here for you to combine all of those into one central location. And everyone has that one location to go and communicate and stay up to date. Some uses here that we're going to be seeing with Paul are the punch list, the use for inspections, as well as MEP coordination. And then you're seeing there some ability to add checklists, to attach photos, and other documentation. Once you've got all that important info added in the field, we can take these tasks and create custom reports that your team can then send out to other contractors or owners or designers. So lots of different options there. And I could talk to you about all of this and explain each feature, but it's gonna be much more impactful for us to show you. And so fortunately, we've got a great guest today with us, Paul Gutierrez from the Morganti Group. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me. My name is Paul Gutierrez. I work for Morganti. My background is in civil engineer. I have a civil engineer degree from NYU Tandon School of Engineering. Been in the construction business for 15 years. Most of my experience is in public schools here in New York City. And for the past 4 years or 5 years, I've been working here in Morganti. We opened 2-3 schools already, public schools here in New York City. I started working with Fieldwire back in 2019 from a school that started from excavation where I started working, and it was very useful for us to coordination, daily reports, and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Paul. I'm really excited to have you on here today. And with that, we're going to dive straight into the project setup. So let me slide over and we'll view Fieldwire live here. And we're looking at one of Paul's projects, which he'll explain a little bit more in depth on in a second. But right now we're on our Forms tab, and we're seeing all the different forms that Paul's team has created for the project. So each one of these is customized. We can see a count as the project goes on of how many have been created. And if we take a look in here at a daily report, we can see that we can go back in time and on any given day throughout the lifespan of the project, open up a form and see exactly what was recorded. You see your automatic weather loading in here, and each of these sections was custom made by Paul's team to record the data that they needed and the documentation that they needed on site that day. And so we'll dive into a little bit more details here in a second. But these from your desktop can be formed and forged to be exactly what your team needs. Looking at the Files tab, we'll see here, first thing that we'll notice is that we have custom folders here that Paul's team has created, whether that's for safety items, for example, COVID information that he can share with the entire project team, or equipment information. These can all be locked at certain levels. If you see the lock icon there, that's showing that Paul's team has set those folders to just be accessible by his specific team there and not by other people on the project. And then we're going to dive into tasks here. So this is just looking at a general contractor's perspective of a task dashboard, with each one of these tiles being a different task. So if I open up an example here for anybody that's new to tasks, we'll see that we have a title here. We're tracking progress on a sidewalk saw cutting. And we've got a checklist in here, and that's going to say exactly what's going on. These can be accessible on your computer or mobile device, and we can say exactly what's happening out in the field. And then we'll see a bunch of different examples here about how we can attach photos and markups and files within these tasks. And additionally, you've got all your attributes, whether you want to track cost, dates, as well as who's specifically assigned to a certain item. So with that context, we can look at this from a broader perspective and see that we're tracking our different statuses at the top here. These are fully customizable and can be changed from project to project. And it really lets us know where a task is. For example, these items are ready for inspection, whereas these items haven't been started, and so on. We also have different ways of filtering the category. So if we look on the left-hand side here, we have different trades, whether we want to look at concrete items, electrical, and here's just a few different examples of how you can set these up, but they're fully customizable for your team. I do want to show what this might look like from the perspective of a subcontractor. So here we have an electrical contractor, and this is just showing that these are all changeable and can really fit your specific needs. So if you see something that doesn't quite work for your team, know that you can change that to fit what you actually perform in the field. Back on that general contractors view, we've got a couple different options here for how we can view these. So if I glance over into the calendar view, I'm able to update items, and I can actually place these and schedule items on our calendar. and update that as we're going. We can do that same process with the Gantt chart as well, and really schedule, create those 2 to 3 week look aheads, and have some control and oversight over what's going on site. And while these can all be created one at a time on the fly as needed, especially out in the field, which is really helpful, we can also create at the beginning of a project a full list of tasks that are going to be implemented on a project. So if we have a full to-do list and we have a punch list or QA/QC items that we want to check on, we can go ahead and create a full list and import that directly into Fieldwire. So you'll see here, we've got our import task button. If I click on that, we've got a spreadsheet style view that pops up that we can manually input items into here. Or if we have a pre-prepared spreadsheet, maybe this was exported from P6 or another program, we can go ahead and grab our entire spreadsheet here, and I'll explain what these different items are doing for us. But I'll grab all these items that I've created in the spreadsheet, copy paste that directly into Fieldwire. And you'll see that for each different item that we've created, we can set that category, set the status, specifically assign it to someone on the project team. And then there's a lot of other options here for giving these items dates, assigning them to a specific plan or location in our project. You even have the ability to create pre-built checklists. And so we can give these action items from the get-go. So once I have these imported into here, I can go ahead and click import, and we'll see that these lists of tasks we have are going to steadily grow, and we're going to take that entire to-do list from our project and now give all of that access that might have been in P6 or other documents directly to our field teams and see how they all have access to this. So before we dive in on a mobile device, I want to show you Paul's project from the bird's eye view here, showing how he has it set up for this particular project, where you'll see items that are ready for inspection, where he's tracking back charges, and where he has items here that need to be communicated with the design team. So before we dive into this on the iPad, I'm going to pass this back over to Pranathi, and she's going to give us another webinar question.
Awesome. There you have the poll question. Do you guys currently pre-plan your tasks? Yes. And if you pre-plan it, do you use the task importer or not? Or if you're no, do you use tasks? Do you create reactive tasks? Or do you not create tasks at all?
Awesome, there we go. We got Paul back there. Okay, Paul, you ready to dive in here?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go. Let's do it. Just a quick overview of this project. This project is located in Staten Island. It's already finished. It's in substantial completion. It's just a couple items that are left for a final completion. So that's pretty much it. So what we have is, when we were in the busiest time of construction, the first thing that I do when we got to the site is to create a form for the daily reports and set it up already for all the subs and everything who are going to be on site. As you can see it marked up who is from Morganti Field Management and stuff like that, or
Awesome.
Type it up.
Yeah, can you take us through that? So I know we've got that weather that's automatically pulled in, and it looks like different Morganti and subcontractor subs in here.
Yes, if you scroll more down and you're gonna see the subcontractors, there you go, the work log. So these are the people, especially on this day that we come in. Blue Diamond were security guards. It was kind of a big site, so we needed 3 security guards. And yes, so we, during the day, we have all the subs right here. We go through the site and we ask for manpower, what there were tasks for the day, and it was easily shared to everybody, where the PM on the office wanted to know what was the manpower, he can see right away what was the manpower and also the tasks that they were doing for the day, and take some initial pictures, and that's what it was done at the beginning of
Awesome.
the
Awesome.
yes.
How did that compare to previous processes that you might have been doing before Fieldwire?
Well, it's a little bit. It was more paperwork. I guess more communication through other means of emails or something like that. It wasn't really. When you're doing a project like this, it's easier to have more the updated information right away instead of, there's a lot less human error on providing the information using Fieldwire than doing it through an email or something else.
Okay, so it just takes a little bit of that responsibility off your plate, and you've got a little more consistency there.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, and I know we're looking at the daily report there. Your team also has a couple other forms. What other items are you guys tracking through forms here?
So there's other forms that we needed to do per contract with our owner. It was quality control. It was weekly to show all the inspections that were completed during the week, and if there were any NCRs. So we used to submit this to the owner. Another yes, another form that was pretty cool. It was the field coordination meeting, which is our foreman's meeting, and it's where we just it was our agenda for the meeting when we had our foreman's meeting, where we put all the issues that they have, if the all the issues that they have, and talk about it during the meeting, if they were close or they were not close. It was a good way to talk about the 2-week look ahead, and at the end, I just put the sign-in sheet so we have a good record of who came to the meeting and all of that.
Sweet. I know the last one that we wanted to look at there was the SWIP inspection plan. That was required to do on site.
Yeah. So this is a waste protection. This is how we have to do it weekly too. This was a contractual item, and it's just we gotta show that the site is not polluting the environment. We usually have photos of how the site is clean and the water is kept on site, and how we're protecting drains and stuff like that, so we don't pollute the environment. This is something that it was required per contract.
Okay, so you had a lot of contractual obligations here and then you took those and built this specific form so that you could,
yes,
go build every day on your tablet and check these off.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, yeah, appreciate you showing us those.
Yes.
Let's dive over to the Files tab here.
Files tab. All right, the Files tab, we the way that it was set up, first of all, it was set up for submittals. If you scroll down on the files, you will see the submittals, and they were cut by divisions. Fieldwire is for the field, so what we started is putting the submittals that were approved, only the submittals that were approved, just in case we need to share it with anybody in the field. We can share it very quickly from our mobile devices or from an iPad.
Awesome. The other link to the drawings as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some of them, if they were needed to be linked to the drawings, it will be easier to link to the drawings too. Other thing that we did here, it was the specifications, but now I think we have a tab right next to the plans, which we don't need those anymore.
Right,
Other item, yeah. Which is a lot easier actually with the tab for specifications. Other items were inspections, so we can easily share the information. If a sub or a foreman didn't have the latest inspection report, we should just send it over to them so they can see it and can work on it, streamline the process.
Sweet. And then so it's easy, and you have access to this offline as well, right? When you're out in the field.
Absolutely. Like one of the, just to give you an example, one of the items that we put a little lock on it, one is Exhibit B is for contracts with our subcontractors. So we didn't want to share that information with the owner or the architect. So, you
Right.
know, that's why it's only for us.
We'll keep that confidential today. We won't open that one. But yeah, we'll see in a little bit how these are all connected to the task that we're going to be looking at as well.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, that's
Right. Anything to mention there before we look at tasks?
oh no, that's pretty much it. That's what we use the files for. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So we're going to open up tasks here, and you'll see that the first thing, you've got some options on the side here to quickly filter by different categories. Can you walk us
Yes.
through the different categories that your team uses to track these?
Yeah. So since we work for it's a city agency that for the schools, we do have multiple reports from many different inspectors. So to make it easier, we did every category pretty much is an inspection report. So it's just in case when I'm on site and I have to walk with an inspector, it's easier for me to search on what report was the elevator inspector was here. Just click on that category and see what's open, what's closed, what is ready for inspection, and update that
Sweet.
automatically.
Let's take a look at one of those inspections. So you're saying you'd walk out on site, you've got the inspector there, and then maybe you've got the plumbing inspector there today, so we can filter to those plumbing items.
Yes.
And you've got these items that are already set up by your team for ready for inspection.
Yes.
And then, so yeah, can you walk through what you got there?
Yeah. So, well, first, the tasks get imported from the reports. The reports we get it, it's the paper report. We'll import it into Fieldwire using the multitask Excel file, the way that you just showed it to us. And our work in the field is to verify that everything is done. When it's ready for inspection, that's ready for the inspector. We'll put that status on the task that is ready for inspection. If there's a photo or there's a document to it, we'll include it there too. This one doesn't have it, but there should be one that will have it. And so when we walk with the inspector, we show them that it's ready for inspection. If the inspector at the time of the inspection, the inspector agreed that it was closed, we'll put it completed. And then after, when we get his report and we saw the deficiency is completed, we'll verify it. So that was the system that we created over there. So
great. So that's what we verified. We've got deficiencies where we've got that finalized report. So you've had the initial report from the inspector, closed everything out, and now you've got your proof out in the field if you need to show it to anybody at any time.
Absolutely, yes. Just in case it opens, because sometimes opens magically, so we have to show that we did the work, and that's it.
Okay, so basically there's some discrepancy, and the inspector might tell you, hey, we don't think that's
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Okay, great.
It takes that kind, yeah, it just streamlines the process of everything.
Sweet. And then as far as other types of QA/QC work, we've got a couple of your tasks here that are pulled up. For example, the cafeteria here. Can you walk us through what this is set up for?
So yeah, before, when this started, I wasn't really good with the creating locations on Fieldwire. So what I did is create a task for each room and include, so just tag, relate the task to the room so we know what is. So when I go in the field and I'm in room, for example, 129, I can see what is open, what is ready for inspection. And this was just architectural punch list. So this one came at the end. So it's after, school was open and they gave us the architectural punch list, and that's how we keep track of it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sweet. And so all know that for the cafeteria, you've got this list of items left to do, and you can see, that color coded, hey, yellow is ready for inspection, red is open, and green we're getting completed there.
Yes.
Cool. I thought there's one that your team was doing really well with, deficiencies on site and in general just punching. So this caulk behind the radiator, can you walk us through how this kind of a deficiency would be created out in the field and followed up on?
Oh yeah, so well, this deficiency was created out of, this is another architectural punch list. It was created from the architectural punch list with the PDF that we got, and it's actually in there in the task, the 538 PDF, and we created it. We imported it into Fieldwire, and then whenever it's done, we take that picture there, and it's ready for inspection, and then we send it over. So you see the caulk that they did, whatever
Perfect.
was done. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then something that was also super cool to see was, let's look in at this dimension item. So I think this was one that you were mentioning, how you're communicating with different people in the field on what's going on. Can you walk us through this one here?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know why you can't see. Can you scroll down maybe? Because so this, oh wow, there's nothing. Well, anyways, so during the construction site, during this layout moment when the carpenter is, it was very useful. The carpenter sometimes couldn't find the dimension where the door, where the board was going to be or something like that. He will send me the task, and I will rewrite it and then send it over to the architect. Some stuff that is simple, that doesn't require that much to be in an R5, and then send it over to streamline the process. We use this, and then the architect will reply back saying that 3 feet from the floor or something like that, and it will be an answer that will still be documented, but it won't be it's just good. It was good documentation. It was fast.
Okay, awesome. And it looks like you've got it directly linked to a plan right here. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on that, and so you can see if you've got this item, it'll take you directly to where it's occurring. And I know you mentioned you do some markups there on the drawings and within the task to communicate amongst the team members.
Yes. Whenever there was an RFI that changed some location, I would write it there, mark it up on the drawings, on the Fieldwire drawings, and so everybody can see it. my carpenters, electricians, all my trades were able to see what was the change. If there was in the RFI included a drawing that updated the drawing right away into the updated into Fieldwire, and everybody had access to it. So
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. The last example I wanted to show that was really impressive was looking from the plan's perspective on how these can relate to your drawings. You had a sheet in here. Let me make sure we're looking at all of our tasks. You had a sheet in here that was really impressive. So can you walk us through what we're looking at on this sheet with all these tasks?
Yeah, so this building was a precast building. Precast building required a lot of inspection, especially for the connections. There was a point that all of these ideas came out of necessary. So we didn't have a way to keep track of all the connections. And what we did is just create a task for each panel and for each location. It took a long time, but it was good record keeping. And so when whatever was inspected, it was green. So if you can see, everything is green here. Also, we did the facade coordination that was prior to the construction of this thing. So if something was missing, hose bib or something, precast has to be perfectly coordinated before it comes to the site. So anything that was missing, that it was shown on the drawings, it was noted here, and we made it. We changed the drawings, and as you can see, see the arrow of how many revision it has, and you can see how many times it got revised, that drawing. It was a lot.
Awesome. And then you attach the completed inspection to each report or each task afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We had a report for everything that was finished. We had this also. Another thing about having this is, if you show an owner or you show an inspector, it creates a good impression on yourself, because it shows that you're really like taking an effort on getting this thing done in a right way or something like that. So it's also, what is important is the presentation, and just to be ready. You know, all these owners, they love persons that are ready and they're on top of the stuff. So this just a really cool tool to show you that you're doing that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that kind of answered. I have one last question for you guys. Going to ask. I know it looks like there's a good amount of effort and prep that you put into setting your product up. Do you feel like that effort was rewarded or really paid off in the long
Yeah, I
run?
know, absolutely, Alex, especially for the precast that got signed off right after you finish. Sign off. Like if somebody's in New York City, they need to have a tier one. They had a tier one final right away. So it was completed. It was signed off by engineers and everything, and it just streamlines everything. It was really fast.
Great. We love to hear that,
Mhm.
and we appreciate your time and input so much. Thanks for letting us get a glimpse into your life on site there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Zach and Paul, for going over this workflow and showing it in action on your project. Before we dive into the Q&A session, we have one last poll here for you.
This is up to 14, and this is without my markups, right?
Based on what you saw today, would you be interested in implementing any of these workflows? Awesome. Let's get this floor open for a Q&A session. Anyone who has any question, please put it into the Q&A section on the panel on the right. And we are recording this session, so we will send you a recording at the end of this webinar. The first question here is, can you create subtasks?
So for me,
Either of you, can you create a task inside a task, related tasks? Or
yes,
something?
yeah, that's what yeah, of course you can relate the tasks, and that's how it was done per. If you go back when I was saying that we did per room, a task per room, and then we relate all the issues to that room. So when you click on that in the room, on the task room, you can see all the related issues, and you can see what is open, what is closed, what is ready for inspection.
Awesome. Yeah, the next one from Carl here. Can the tablets or mobiles be used offline? If so, the data is automatic or Paul, did you guys use a lot of offline mobile access in these buildings?
Yeah, most of the things actually were done offline because these buildings for some reason you don't have a lot of cell phone service. So yeah, but you gotta make sure that you go back to your office and upload all the information before start.
Got it.
Yeah.
And Paul, just to clarify, when you're going back to your office, it's happening automatically, right? You just got to make sure
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
connected to
you
Wi-Fi.
don't have you just gotta make sure that you're connected to Wi-Fi. That's all.
Awesome.
Zach, maybe you can take this one. Do more than one person have access to daily report, or would you have multiple forms for the same day depending on how many people were on site?
Yeah, so each form can be collaborative, so you can open that up so multiple people on your team have the ability to add in their specific photos, or if you want to have some people record the exterior subs and someone's recording the interior subs responsibilities, that can really be split up amongst different people on one form.
Awesome. The next one here is, can I duplicate a task?
Yeah, exactly. And Paul,
Yes.
duplicate these
That-
on the fly.
Yes, you can definitely can duplicate it, and it's a very useful. It's a very useful thing because yeah, it gets really annoying to keep typing the same thing over and over.
Awesome. Maybe Zach, do you want to open a plan and show how to just quickly duplicate a task?
Yeah, exactly. So we can do that in a couple different ways, whether we're on a plan here, I can click in and I can actually duplicate multiple at a time. For this one, I'll just go ahead and right click this one and I can go ahead and duplicate and I can place that on another wall. So rather than creating that 2 different times, we can do it one time and then copy it over, and it'll also maintain any kind of checklist and other attributes you put in there.
Awesome. Amber here has a question on custom statuses. How do you implement custom statuses?
Yeah, so we can go in here on our task tab, and you'll see that if you're an admin on your project, that you can hover over any of these statuses, click on that gear icon, and then up to 7 statuses, you have complete control over naming these. You can reorder these if you'd like to, and you can also change your colors here to color code that and update permissions. So if you only want an admin or a member to be able to mark this as complete, you've got some control over who can do that.
Awesome. Yeah, the next one is from Jacob. Inside the Files tab, you went through the logged folders. Are you able to select who specifically is able to see those folders?
So let me pull that up here. With each folder, you have the option to change your access. And when we do that, we can select from just the admins, our admins and our members, or everybody, including the followers on the projects. So you've got 3 different tiers of security levels there.
Awesome. The next one, probably this is for you, Paul. Daniel wants to know if it is better to run this job on an iPad or an iPhone. What was your guys' preference on the job site?
iPad, of course, but iPhone works as well. Sometimes it's too cold to carry an iPad outside, so your phone will work just as well.
Awesome. The next one is again for you. What percentage of your day is spent working to input something on Fieldwire?
It depends on the day, but I will say 2 hours sometimes, most of the time when you are busy, when it's a busy time. Right now, I spent, about 2-3 hours today on this job site. So, yeah.
Maybe can you quickly also just describe what would your activities today be? Like what would you be doing in those 2-3 hours on Fieldwire?
Oh, well, today I was, there were some sleeves in concrete walls that were missing. So it was easier to mark it, created like tasks, put photos, put dimensions, put it in the drawings, create a nice report for the engineer and architect, include it into an RFI and send it out. So just that's what I did today on Fieldwire, and I'm ready to send that RFI. That's all.
Awesome. The next one from Tracy is, what do the different icons mean in the tasks? So
Yeah,
if you
great.
can.
And by that, are we referring to these symbols here on the side?
Yep.
Yes, we've got a couple different, I'll view this from the task menu so we can see all the options. You've got the square there, and that's going to tell you that this is not technically linked to a drawing. So this is, maybe it's a schedule milestone or something more general, and it's not linked to the drawings. Then we have our diamond here. That's going to tell us that this is linked to a specific drawing, but maybe it's not located on the drawing itself. We just know that it's related to A102. And then finally, we've got this teardrop icon. So we can see that this is A201-2. And if I open this with the teardrop, we're actually linked directly to the drawing. So I can click in here and it'll take me directly to where that is on the drawings. And just a brief note, if you see these 2 letters on each one, that's going to tell us what category we're looking at. So here we've got PA telling us that that's a paint item.
Awesome. The next one is, can you see all tasks listed on a drawing?
Yeah, so this is good view to be looking at that from. Right here, we can see all of our tasks that are on this drawing, and you can also filter that as well. So if we look here, you'd be able to select by different styles here. So for doors, we can see we've got one door task. And for all tasks, we've got this list directly linked to this drawing.
Awesome. We're almost at time. Thank you everyone for attending today. I hope the session was useful. For all the questions we didn't go through, I know we have a lot of questions in the Q&A. Our experts will reach back out to you and we'll make sure those questions get answered. Again, we would really appreciate if you can take a couple of minutes and answer the survey which follows next. Again, thanks so much, Zach and Paul, for hosting this session. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.